4 reasons why retirement might cost you more than you think. The hits just keep on coming because let's just dive in. It's a Market Watch article which we'll read. Oh, for the love of me! All right, so let's see what the Market Watch Motley Fool, excuse me, not Market Watch, Motley Fool, and Maury Backman, TMF book nerd, tells us. Now, someone says Command Positive. Yeah, it's not working on the Mac. Is it Control Positive? Yeah, I don't know how to make this bigger on the Mac. Do I get both of them? No. Anyway. All right, so let's read this. So 4 reasons retirement might cost you more than you think. You can't afford to underestimate your retirement costs, but here's why you might. Dateline November 5th, 2019. Many workers plan and save for retirement in the hopes that they'll manage to enjoy their golden years without any financial stress. But if you're not careful, you could end up struggling during retirement despite all that forethought. Here are a few reasons why your golden years could end up costing you more than expected. Of course, number 1 is you're ill-informed about healthcare. Healthcare is one of seniors' biggest expenses. Let's take a gander, shall we, and see where she's citing this article. Hold on a second. Ironically, she just cites her own article, which is actually good link building. That's from an SEO, search engine optimization. That's good stuff. But her own article is saying why healthcare is so expensive for retirees. And that's the article she's citing by saying healthcare is one of seniors' biggest expenses. It's like the New York Times and Washington Post. The Washington Post reports that Trump didn't say God bless you when he sneezed. The New York Times says, according to media sources, media sources close to administration, Donald Trump did not say God bless you when he sneezed, when Melania sneezed. And then they just read, and then Washington Post says, according to New York Times, see how that works? It's just circular. This is circular. Anyway, while it might be difficult to understand your, if not impossible, to understand your estimate of your healthcare expenses, you can rely on the data that's out there. And to this end, you should know that HealthView Services, a provider of cost projection software, anticipates healthcare costing $387,000 throughout retirement for the average 65-year-old couple leaving the workforce today. Look, they're scared. Even Pablo's scared. Pablo's like, what? It's going to cost $387,000 for the average couple for retirement cost, for healthcare costs for retirement. And look, oh no. I'm not even going to get why I can't stand that, but I cannot stand that. Because I just simply say, how much does it cost for a lump sum for all the food you're going to consume? All the dog food you're going to have Pablo eat? All the internet, all the phone, all your property tax. What's your lump sum for that? Of course, that's just one number, but if you're planning to spend much less on healthcare, you could be throwing your retirement budget off course. The takeaway, read up on healthcare expenses to get a sense of what you're in for. Here it is. You ready? $135 for Part B. That's in 2019. It's probably about $144 next year for Part B. $35 for Part D. It'll probably go up to about $37 or $38 next year. And I just throw between $100 and $150 for Medigap. All right, so you got $150 we'll just use, another $150 for Part B and Part D roughly. That's $300 a month for me, $300 a month for Charlotte. Now that does not include ear and eye. I get that, and it does include copay and some co-insurance as well. So at the end of the day, I suggest that for you and your spouse, you're looking between $4,000 and $5,000 a year for healthcare costs and retirement, and that's Medicare with all the supplements that go with it, co-pays, co-insurance, eyes and vision, eyes and ears too. So you extrapolate $5,000 a year. Ooh, buddy, your breath stinks. And you got that's $10,000 a year for Charlotte and me. And 10,000 times, we'll say we live for 20 years in retirement, that's $200,000. If you live for, that's not inflated because we're just using today's numbers, all right? That's all we're doing. If you can inflate it, that's fine, but then you have to inflate all the other stuff too and to include your portfolio growth. If it's 25 years, it costs $250,000, which is right in line with what Fidelity's study would say, about $286,000. Exactly. So if I'm in a house that has utility bills, property taxes, cable, and all that, that costs me $15,000 a year. We times $15,000 by 20, that's $300,000. or 15,000 by 25, whatever that is, that's more than 300,000, and you get a gauge of how much the lump sum you need to pay for your housing costs, to pay for your health insurance costs, to pay for I don't know, food. Do that again for food too. Just keep doing that. And what you find, according to the BLS, is that your healthcare expenses are right in line with what all the other expenses are. In fact, until you're over 75, it's not even in the top 4. Maybe it's top 3 for sure, but maybe not in the top 4. I can't remember. Once you hit above, is it 75 or 80? I can't remember. Once you hit a higher amount, it's usually number 2, but it's basically number 2 between number 2 and number 3. And housing is by far and away the biggest expense, as I've said a million times a Sunday. You don't have long-term care insurance because this number here, this dastardly $387,000 number, doesn't include long-term care. Many workers avoid buying long-term care because they don't want to foot the bill for those potentially costly premiums. A long-term care policy, however, could save you thousands upon thousands of dollars in retirement if you wind up needing extensive care. Or put it another way, if you don't buy the insurance, you could wind up spending $90,000 a year for nursing home care, which is the current average price for nationwide shared care for a shared room. All right, that's fine. The current average price. What's the likelihood that you're going to end up in that place? That's what we have to say. Yes, it's expensive. I 100% agree. It's expensive. What's the likelihood of that expense affecting you? It's not very high. Home health aides and assisted living facilities aren't much cheaper, around $50,000 a year. That's why a long-term care insurance policy can really pay off. And the ideal time to apply is around your mid-50s. No, it's not. The ideal time to apply is when you don't need it, when you're young. So apply. Look, I got long-term care. I got it 10 years ago. So I've been paying, roughly between $100 and $150 a month for both Charlotte and me for the last 10 years, and we haven't had to use it, but it's for insurance in case I needed to have a long-term care need. I have some sort of coverage. But as I get older, I will not use it, and I will drop that sucker because I'll use my home if I need to go to an assisted living facility or nursing home. I cannot occupy both the assisted living facility and the nursing home at the same time. One of those things cannot exist, so I'll sell my home to go to the assisted living facility. Or if you want to have in-home health care, you just take a reverse mortgage against your house. No big deal. You're not accounting for home ownership costs. Well, that'd be the number one thing right there. Many seniors enter retirement with their mortgages paid off and assuming their housing expenses will therefore be minimal. But if that's your plan, don't forget that as home age, they require maintenance and repairs. I was talking to a lady the other day. She's like $20,000, I think, in California to do a new roof. I was like, man, that's nuts. No, she had the assets to do it, but that ain't cheap. Another thing is keep in mind that property taxes have a tendency to rise, even if home values aren't following suit. And while there are programs in place to help seniors in this regard, they're generally reserved for lower income households. All right, yeah, well, I don't know so much about that. Generally, they're for seniors for sure. You're forgetting about taxes. If the income you have access to in retirement might come from a number of sources, many of which are taxable. Take Social Security, for example. Unless you're a low-income household, you can expect to pay taxes on your benefits at the federal level. And some states impose their own taxes, too. Then there's your retirement savings. Unless you're housing that money in a Roth or 401k, your withdrawals are subject to tax, including income you get from a pension. If you have cash in the bank, the interest that you're getting is also subject to tax. I agree. Let's see. Was that it? Number 4? Okay, I guess that's the 4 things. I don't have any qualm with number 4. Look, I don't have any qualm with the article as a whole. I just don't think necessarily how many people are really that ill-informed about medical costs in retirement. I think it's the exact opposite. They're overly informed and they're overly scared because they say, oh my goodness, $387,000 and I only got $100,000 in my portfolio. Whoa! Anyway, it's all good, but just don't worry. I mean, look. Worrying isn't going to do you any good. Do I worry? Yes. I think about, what if I don't have enough money to pay my mortgage? What if? Is that the equivalent of worrying, or is the equivalent of just thinking things through, like having a worst case scenario that I'm looking at? I don't know how you'd want to look at that. But for me, I say, look, I can always get another job. If you're 70 years old and you're having a hard time making ends meet and you're thanks, buddy, in decent health, you can get a job too. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, do you want to? No. But can you? Sure. So come here, buddy. Will that solve some of your problems? It might. And so always think, is there a way out if things go from bad to worse? Is there a escape hatch? And if the escape hatch is going to Lowe's or Walmart, is that the worst thing that ever happened? I don't think so. I mean, if you got too much pride, maybe that's it. But for me, like, I'll go dig ditches. I got no qualm with that. It doesn't bother me in the least. I don't think I'm going to need to, but we shall see. I mean, that's the whole point. I don't know. You don't know. I mean, you might fall off a ladder tomorrow. Pablo might bite my neck and make me bleed all over the place, and then I'm dead. Hey, look, he's growling at me. What's up, Growly? So anyway, stop worrying about it so much. But it's a good article, I think, nonetheless. All right, we'll see you next time.